think you're doing great. I don't
Knowing what am I?
You're doing really great. You look like you're having fun playing. You're making a lot of music. Miles Davis said one time, "Don't fear mistakes. There are none." All of our art has flaws in it, but it's still beautiful, right? So you can make good music. If you make mistakes, forgive yourself instantly. It's history already, you know? And actually, unfortunately, you have to make mistakes to learn what not to do sometimes. So don't be afraid to try things. Go for it. I feel like you're doing that. I feel like you're going after it. You're not reading music. You've got the tunes together enough that you're kind of at a level where you can go for it. That's cool. And I think you're succeeding. I think you're doing real well. Let me just ask you a couple questions. What's your function in the band?
Keep time.
Keep time? Anything else?
Control dynamic.
Dynamics? Anything else?
Not that I can think of right now.
How about the form? 12-bar form, 16-bar
Yeah.
form, whatever. So a lot of times you have to reassure everybody with a little pap, there's the head, right? And everybody says, yeah, I thought it was the head. Okay. You know, you're all on this together, right? Helping each other, carrying on a conversation and moving back and forth. What's your function?
I think it's to put feel and groove and
With
hold
feel and
time
groove for sure. What about harmony?
to support it and maybe even try to throw in one or two. Eventually.
Well, but mainly you're laying down the foundation, right? And just like he helps reassure everybody where they are, come out of that bridge on so what and hit a D, everybody says, yeah, we're back to the last day, you know? Just little things like that are extremely important. And of course, you got your ears pretty open, I think, but you always got to be listening and ready to adjust. Someone's going to screw up, it's all right, you know? Just fix it, right? Horn players, rhythm section players, can they keep time for you? Can they make you play with good time? No, no way. You've got to be your own drummer. Okay. And you got to have that time strong. When you're practicing at home by yourself, yeah, you can play with the play along and you can play with the metronome and so forth, but turn them all off and just play and have a strong sense of time and keeping the beat as though you're the whole band. So as you bring something strong to the bandstand, okay? Nobody can carry anybody else. Okay. Now you got a band with 3 chord instruments. Let me tell you a little experience I had. Many years ago I did a tour with Clark Terry, and on this package tour there were 3 groups, and Max Roach had a group with a trumpet player, a tenor player, a bass player, and himself on drums. No piano or guitar. And it was great. Really cool, and that was kind of new to me. I mean, yeah, I heard Sonny Rollins Trio, and I heard Jerry Mulligan and Chet Baker with their group, you know. But still, like Max Roach, I'm thinking Max Roach playing in a group like this. So one, you know, we all stayed in the same hotels and everything. So one morning over coffee, I got to talk to Max, and I said, I really love the sound of your group, man, but I'm not used to hearing you play in a group like this without a piano player. He said, gig didn't pay enough for 5 people. Oh. That was a real epiphany for me, because all of a sudden I realized good horn players don't need me. I am not needed. Okay? We like to hear the texture, we like to hear chords played and everything. But you're hearing the chords in your head, you're hearing the chords in your head. You don't need someone to plunk it out for you. So right, man, that was a huge thing for me, because I'm thinking, okay, what can I bring to the situation to make it better? And I started rethinking my whole function or role in the rhythm section completely. Now, we really don't need 3 instruments, okay? But it's cool, I'm glad you're in there. One of you was playing one of the parts on the ba, 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 right? Or were both of you?
Just one of those.
Just one of them. Guitar is a great instrument for a number of reasons. It's got a wide range. It's a very orchestral instrument in that it blends well with trumpet or saxophone or, you know. So you might explore trying to function like horn players in the arrangement more, you know. You can have 4-part harmony, trumpet, tenor, guitar, guitar. It's a cool sound. In fact, there was a group, West Coast group many years ago called the Dave Pell Octet that had 4 horns and 4 rhythm. But the guitar was the 5th horn most of the time. It's pretty cool sound. And then people, the classic question is, well, how do piano and guitar play together in a band? It can be tough if you don't listen, you know, and I've seen instances where the guitar player and the piano player were not listening to each other at all. It's kind of like, geez, man, come on, you know. But the rule is mainly play less, or do contrasting things, right? Maybe you play a pad, blah, and you go blip, blip, you know, or you're playing more rhythmic, you know. Just like in the Headhunters tune, one of you could do one of those one-note drone kind of thing, baka, 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 you know. And then the other one playing a chord, you doing something different, you know. Incidentally, you're doing nicely. Keep your voicings, your left hand, keep it around the middle of the piano. If you want brighter things, then you go up on top with triads or octaves and so forth. You know. But the foundation of the harmony should be around middle C. You know. I like your Claire de Lune quote. Last thing I expected to hear in that tune. On So What, it's a very chromatic tune, that modulation by half step. But you can really do interesting things in your solo by, as the chord changes, either up a half step or down a half step, try to make your idea resolve across the bar line by half step to the next chord, okay? Half steps are really strong.
They've never heard that before.
This is one of the fundamental things in music. That's classical music, but that's the 7th resolving to the 3rd, leading tone going up to the key step. But in jazz, maybe it'll be sharp 11 to 9 or something. But half steps are really strong. And so the more you can kind of think about half steps, in fact, I'm kind of getting to the point where I think it's all about half steps. As Ingrid said, you know, get comfortable with your modes and so forth and learn to play diatonically without any chromaticism. This is very chromatic music. We love chromaticism. We love alterations. We love all that. But lay the foundation by playing purely in the key. You know, figure out, you know, what major key you're in, what the basic sound is. Be sure you can arpeggiate all the chords, 1, 3, 5, 7 at least, maybe up to the 9th, maybe even to the 13th, you know. But at least the basic 7th chord. You can't go wrong with chord tones. You land on a chord tone, you're golden. You're good, you know. And you can also simplify things a little bit by just playing like the first 5 notes of the chord, you know. You know. Or on a different part of the chord. You know, you get a lot of different common jazz vocabulary out of just 5-note scales. You guys should spend time at the piano. You already play a chord instrument. It's not going to hurt you to spend some time at the piano. The better you can hear harmony, the better you can be sure where you are and reassure them where you are, right? See, everybody's helping. Everybody's pitching in here, okay? The So What thing is generally a Dorian tune, although Coltrane didn't just play Dorian scale on it, he played other scales. So it's cool. It's like hearing you experiment with different sounds on it. But nail that Dorian sound first, you know? What's the note in the Dorian scale that says it's Dorian? 6, yeah. So that you're identifying to the listener, folks, I'm playing minor, but specifically I'm playing Dorian. That's the extra note, right? 3rds and 7ths are always important. The 6th is important. If you're playing a Lydian sound, what's the important note? sharp 4. Okay? So get inside. You know, you can't just walk down the street and look in the scale store and say, oh yeah, that's nice, I should go in there sometime. No, you got to open the door and go in and hang out for a while. Okay? Crawl inside it.
Scales are us.
Scales are us. All right, one more thing I wanted to say. Tenor Madness. Anybody have any feelings about that tempo? Feel like it was too fast or too slow or anything? Come on, be honest.
I think we're probably a bit faster than we could play.
Is it fast as you could play it?
It's faster than we could play. I think we were.
Oh, well, now I'm not talking about a value judgment. I'm just talking about your perception. Did it feel like it should have been slower or it should have been faster?
To me,
Well, that's
it
what I mean.
felt
It should have been slower.
right. To me, it felt right.
Felt right?
Yeah.
Didn't feel right to me. I never felt like everybody really agreed on the tempo. Okay? So here's what it boils down to. You have to believe in the quarter note. You absolutely have to believe whatever the tempo is. What's the best tempo for Tenor Madness? If I count it off, it's my tempo. And if you count it off, it's your tempo. Right? But that's the most important part of the tune. When someone counts off the tempo, is focusing on that. Because I don't know how many times I hear tempos counted off and then a different tempo is played. Okay? But then, again, you're your own drummer. You're your own drummer. You have to believe in that tempo and play that tempo. Okay? So that's really important. Really important. I confess, at a younger, impetuous age, I was very unhappy very often. Someone counted off the tempo, and the whole tune I'm thinking, oh, this is too slow, you know? And then finally it hit me one day, duh, I'm unhappy the whole tune when I could be enjoying it. You know? And it's I don't know that I want to write a book about it or anything, but it's been an interesting experience to me, as I'm sure for Ingrid, playing certain standards hundreds of times in different situations with different players at slightly different tempos, and the same tune kind of becomes a whole different tune. By the way, I liked your updated version of So What. I think Miles would like that. I think he would have done that. But once I started saying, okay, yeah, that's interesting. A little faster tonight, but yeah, I like it. Let's see where this goes. Oh, slower today. Okay. Let's play it there, you know. It kind of, you find that, you know, just 2 or 3 different markings on the metronome different, it's a whole new tune. And it's groovy. I think that's a real cool thing, you know. There are certain tempos for tunes that we sort of expect because of the way the tune was recorded, you know. But Miles himself played So What, a lot of different tempos, you know. They played it real fast. There was one more thing I was going to say to you. Shoot. Oh, yeah. Study harmony. Learn harmony. Okay? Learn piano voices. All the good horn players I know can sit down and play good sounding voices on the piano. They're not necessarily pianists. Although I remember when Chris Potter was at one of our summer jazz camps, and I walked in a room one day and saw him sitting there playing piano and sounding great. I thought you were a saxophone player. Quit that. But, you know, really, that's the way you can internalize harmony. You can only play one note or you can arpeggiate a chord, but what you need to do is play that chord, you know, with the alterations or extensions, hold the pedal down, and then play over it on your horn. That's the way you're really going to climb inside the sound. Okay? You're doing great, though. I want to encourage you. Keep up the good work. Play a lot of tunes. Standards. Ingrid mentioned standards. There's a website called jazzstandards.com. Are you acquainted with that? Go there, and there's like 1,000 tunes listed, so don't freak out. But the first 2 pages have 100 tunes. They've listed them from like the most played, most recorded, most requested, whatever, down to, you know, like, who the heck cares if we ever hear this tune, you know. But the first 100 tunes, get in there, start learning those tunes, learn the melodies, okay? A good way to learn a lot of tunes, of course, is to buy a play-along collection that's got a bunch of tunes in it, and you got a play-along record to practice with, so, you know, you can go for it. But listening, this is still the most important thing. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is when I was growing up, when I was in high school and college, we didn't have any fake books, so I had to learn tunes off of records. The good news is when I was growing up, we didn't have any fake books, and I had to learn tunes off of records. Okay? It's all ear training, but if you learn a tune off by ear, you don't have to memorize it. You already got it. Okay? And you know, maybe you can't quite check all the changes, so then use your fake book like a dictionary. Go look it up. Oh, that's a minor 7, not a sharp 9. Oh, okay. See, just to kind of help you out. Or ask somebody that you respect that can tell you. No, dummy, that's a minor 7. But, all right? It's not music unless it's sound. We're dealing with sound, you know. That's not music.
No, it's not music.
All right? So, keep listening. Listen and copy. Imitate your favorite players, you know? And when you're listening, when you hear something that really catches your ear, stop the recording and try to play something that feels just like that. Doesn't even have to be the same tune or the same notes. But try to capture the feeling, okay? Because we learn from the masters. You know, we keep imitating them. And you can really get into it. I can remember a long time ago, I won't tell you how long, someone in the club came up to me and said, "You sound just like Bill Evans." Instead of saying, "Thank you very much," I kind of like, "Really? I don't sound like Dan Haerle?" Gee. But I started thinking, well, I better stop listening to Bill Evans, you know, because that's not doing me any good. I'm starting to sound like him. So I stopped listening to Bill Evans. I kind of stopped listening to everything. And my playing just flatlined. Nothing. And I realized this is stupid, you know. I gotta listen to music because I love it. So listen, you know. You're gonna sometimes just buy one recording by a certain artist that you heard from somewhere else, and then maybe you get to another record and you learn a new player, you know. But my collection had more saxophone players than it did piano players in it, because to me saxophone is the jazz instrument. Not that it's the best or anything, but there's just been more strong influences on saxophone, you know. Unfortunately, the stuff I try to play that Charlie Parker played doesn't fall on piano worth a damn. So I gave up on that. Anyway, keep up the good work. You're doing great.
Thank you, Dan.